Hi guys, it's Mark Zicree, Mr. Sci-Fi, also known as Mark Zicree of Space Command. What is Space Command? Well, we're going to get to that in a moment, but you may know me as the writer of Far Beyond the Stars for Deep Space Nine, or First Contact for Star Trek The Next Generation, or any one of the hundreds of other TV shows I've written over the years. I'm also the author of the Twilight Zone companion, Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities, and the Magic Time series of novels. And you may know me from my popular YouTube channel, Mr. Sci-Fi, where I post regularly about science fiction. A few years ago, I had an idea for a new science fiction space-going show, one that would inspire people like the original Star Trek inspired me. This would be a show in which compassion mattered, in which people reaching across boundaries and barriers to build a better tomorrow would matter. A hopeful vision of the future. But I didn't want to trust the fate of this show to the studios and the networks. We've all seen how they make shows incomprehensible, incoherent, or just plain incompetent. So I reached out to you. And as a result, through selling investment shares and a number of Kickstarter campaigns, we were able to raise enough money to build our own studio and shoot the first 2 hours of Space Command, the 2-hour story Redemption, starring many of your favorite actors from Star Trek, Babylon 5, Lost in Space, Walking Dead, Orange is the New Black. We completed principal photography on the first 2 hours of Space Command and began the lengthy process of post-production that included 1,900 visual effects shots and music with a full orchestra, on and on. And putting it on my Mr. Sci-Fi YouTube channel, over 3 million people have seen it, not counting the thousands who have bought DVDs, digital downloads, and Blu-rays. But that was just the beginning. Our idea was to shoot an entire season of Space Command, 12 hours worth of episodes. Space Command is an epic story that covers 2 centuries in the lives of 4 families, and we get to meet their children, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren, jumping back and forth between these different eras to see cause and effect. In Forgiveness, we meet Matt Kemmer, the great-grandson of our hero Jack Kemmer, and see how their 2 lives intertwine. It's a big, epic story, and we are so thrilled to be able to present it to you. Now, there's a special story around this episode, one very close to my heart. When I was 10 and the original Star Trek was on the air, I got to meet Nichelle Nichols, Lieutenant Uhura. She was incredibly kind and let me into her home, gave me my own copies of her scripts of Star Trek, signed a photo to me, and ultimately I got to go on the set and sit in the captain's chair and stand on the transporter and watch them film the last episode of Star Trek ever filmed, Turnabout Intruder. Now, all these years later, I wrote a scene for Nichelle, and I reached out to her, and she graciously, once more, let me into her home, and we shot a Space Command scene with Nichelle. And I brought the scrapbook I had kept when I was 10 years old of our time together, the letters she'd written me, the photos she had signed me, and she signed my Star Trek album then and there. We got the scene all edited, all put together before, sadly, we lost her. But now it's come full circle, and we have Nichelle, as well as Ferran Tahir of J.J. Abrams' Star Trek, and James Hong of Everything Everywhere All at Once, and also Blade Runner and Big Trouble in Little China, and wrestling legend John Hennigan. Let me show you just a sample of some of the great moments in Space Command Forgiveness.
Kirili, your great-grandfather?
Captain Kemmer, they've found her.
Your name, can you tell us your name?
And no sign of Dr. O'Dara.
Be safe.
We'll be able to give her a few more days, at best.
Vaughn was the hero. I'm just a fatality.
Look. Jack Kemmer, Captain, UPSC Patrol Ship Paladin.
This is not your jurisdiction, it is mine.
His proximity alert's coming online.
Deactivate him!
You ever seen a ship like that?
No.
Sweet Mother of God.
We're waking it. Just try not to scare it.
Hear that?
Status report, what's going on out there?
All systems are down. We're drifting.
You put the weight of the crime on the shoulders of the victims?
Without the faith that we could make a change, I would have died. Just as my mother did.
Power core?
It's building towards an explosion.
Our ghosts aren't quiet, are they?
Bring them home.
We were able to shoot 80% of the 2-hour episode when the pandemic hit. And we had to close things down, of course. We didn't stop shooting, though. We actually wrote and directed and produced a bonus 2-hour episode called Ripple Effect, where we directed long distance and our actors shot their scenes in their homes. And we added actors and characters you'll see later in Space Command, including Christina Moses of A Million Little Things, Armin Shimmerman of Deep Space Nine and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Robert Picardo of Star Trek Voyager and the Orville, Francois Chow of The Expanse, Barbara Bain of Space 1999, J.G. Hertzler of Deep Space Nine, and famed astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson. And that's not all the Space Command stories that we completed during this period. We recorded an audio play with our entire cast, a prequel. Additionally, we did the comic book companion to that story, and are combining them now to make an animatic episode, an animated storyboard. Beyond that, we have the Space Command novel, we have a separate short story. It's all part of the larger universe of Space Command, all connected, all of it canon. It all builds the larger story. So it's very, very exciting. But as the pandemic ended, we started shooting Forgiveness again. We've completed the entire first hour of Forgiveness and 80% of the second hour. We just have the huge climactic sequence on a vast alien spaceship with 2 8-foot-tall creatures. These are not CG. These are actual physical creatures that we are building now, and that's where you come in. We are raising this money from Kickstarter to complete principal photography on Forgiveness. We're already generating the visual effects shots, the score, many other elements, so it'll be ready and shipped to you in the near future. Then after that, we're going right into production of the next 2-hour episode of Space Command, Great Solar War, then another 2-hour episode, Empire, and finally, the 2-hour episode, Harvester. These all form one big story over the course of the entire first season. And whether you're a fan who's already donated to this project or someone just hearing about it for the first time, you can be part of our universe. You can have walk-on roles, speaking roles. You can be a producer. You can have all sorts of cool digital and physical Space Command items. They're all listed here. Thank you so much for being part of this amazing journey and this wonderful dream that we are creating together. Space Command is a hopeful vision of the future. And by being part of it, you're helping to create that future. I'm so grateful to all of you for making this a reality.